What's up, everybody? Kazden is on here. Today I'm going to do a little bit of a short video, and I'm going to talk about the Atari Gamestation Go. I've seen a lot of input coming in through Atari Age, some of the official Facebook groups. I've even joined a few that are solely dedicated to this, as well as just general opinions that have been expressed across YouTube, Discord, all those platforms. And I wanted to kind of chime in, add my input, just for those who do watch my channel, because I do own one of these. I got mine early with version 1.0. And for those of you who are watching this, you probably already own one or thinking about getting one. And for version 1.1, which is the new firmware that was added to the device, it took a lot of things away while also fixing some of the major bugs within the UI itself. So we're going to touch on that, and I'm going to give you my opinions, and hopefully you'll stay for the end of the video because, I would love to hear your input. Now, the Atari Gamestation Go was supposed to be the portable answer to the Gamestation, which is a plug-and-play Atari platform, also produced by My Arcade, and this was supposed to combine a way to play all types of Atari-branded products from the 2600, the 5200, 7800 arcades. They even have a section on here for the M-Network games. My biggest problem with this device is, of course, the number pad, which my honest opinion is that this was more of a gimmick than anything, because it's not fully being utilized the way that it needs to. Now, hear me out before you skip. So, right now, the only thing that supports the number pad on this device is the 5200 titles, nothing else. Granted, you can sideload Intellivision games through a micro SD card, like I have one in here right now, that allows me to play a wide variety of games. We'll go over that as well. But Intellivision doesn't properly work, and there are some games that just don't work altogether. And that can be said about pretty much any of the games that you emulated. Like, for example, I sideloaded Crossbow for the 7800, which requires the use of a light gun in order to play, and not too many people own an XG1. So there's not really any support for light gun games, which were already limited in the classic Atari library to begin with. In fact, the only light gun game on the Atari 2600 was Sentinel, which also has a port for the 7800. So why would that be there? It wouldn't be, right? So you're not going to have everything work the way that you need to, but this device was geared up and keyed for like over a year to where they could have added the potential for Jaguar and Intellivision support, and this could have fully utilized that, and they didn't. And so I get why a lot of people are upset about that. Now, is it a bad device? No. Do I hate it? No. Do I like it? No. So this is where my opinions really start to get a little bit of a sideline here. I think that hardware-wise, this is great. It's got a lot of additional features here to do a lot of things. People who love using their trackball, and the thing about the trackball is that it is very, very rough. It works great. It sets out to do exactly what it needs to do, but it's loud and it's gravelly. Like, listen to this. That's a lot of friction for a trackball. And I don't know what that means in the sense of long term, but that's a lot of friction when there shouldn't be, right? As far as like the rotary dial goes, it's perfect for things like Tempest. I mean, it does great. And I mean, I really can't complain too much about it. I think at the end of the day, if this device got more support for Intellivision natively through the UI itself, because Atari does own that IP, then that would be a huge game changer for this device, and I think a lot of other people could justify that. The reason why I'm not calling attention to Jaguar is because I follow some forums on Atari Age, and there are people who are making custom firmwares for this device. I'll try to, in the description, include some URLs once this goes up. But basically, there has been testing for Atari Jaguar and implementing the number pad for it, and unfortunately, Jaguar support is terrible. The hardware can't handle it. So it runs at like 2 frames per second, and so the fact of that even being a possibility in the future is next to none, which further enforces my opinion of this basically being a gimmick. But Intellivision, on the other hand, in its current state, it works. I definitely had some issues before getting it to work, but it's not perfect, and I think because it's not perfect, that makes it hard for me to kind of lean into that side of it. One of my biggest gripes is with the new 1.1 update, where they removed things like the Nintendo 64 and Nintendo 64 and Dreamcast support for their emulators, which I get. I believe they were running it through MAME, if memory serves correctly. But the reason why they would remove that most likely would be to licensing issues because of Nintendo. I mean, this is being marketed as an official product. Atari is very much growing into a larger name again after finally being back in the market for so many years. So I can understand why they would remove that. Same thing for PlayStation, assuming that that's the case. And there's been no official word from My Arcade, so that's just my opinion. But I can see it from a marketing standpoint how that would make the most sense. PlayStation 1, I got a lot of use of PlayStation 1 out of this device before the 1.1 update. And the fact that it's been removed, I just it really kind of kills the device for me. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to hold anything back. PlayStation 1 ran fantastic. I mean, pretty much every game in the library was working just fine, or at least the ones that I played. And to remove such a key component basically makes this like an early retro emulator at this point. So things that you can't emulate: Super Nintendo, NES, Game Boy Color, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance now works the way that it's supposed to work. You can also emulate Neo Geo Pocket and Color. You can also emulate the Super Nintendo, the NES. Did I already say Mega Drive? Basically, all the 16-bit Sega consoles you can emulate as well. And one of the biggest things for me was support for SG-1000, because I happen to love the SG-1000 game library. I have it on all my retro handhelds that support it, and I think it actually has one of the best ports of the game Hero ever created. That's just my opinion. I digress. But outside of that, there's not really a whole lot of support for any of the niche platforms like Supervision. I love the Supervision library. They're pretty good. Gamate, I mean, that's okay. But you can't emulate Gamecom, even though it has a port of the 2003 MAME engine on the system itself. So it's definitely a mixed bag. Was I expecting it to stand up to other emulation devices that are available to the market? No, of course not. But I do think at the price point of $200 USD, there should have been a lot more done for this device, or at least a lot more added than just the limited library that is available here. I mean, this thing has more Atari 2600 games than it does arcade titles. You're not getting a whole lot in the library for 7800 or 52, and any benefit of using it, like you have to emulate. You have to put an SD card on there and sideload those yourself. Otherwise, you're not really getting its full use, and that's just not fair. And even more is when you are loading games through the SD card, right? There's smart glow technology, like how this ring and stuff shows up around the D-pad and around the numbers to show that those are the buttons that you can engage with. They don't work because you're working through an SD card at that point. So there's definitely a lot of work that needs to be done. I know, and I completely understand people's frustrations with the device. Is it for me? No. I don't think it is. Do I hate it? No. Do I love it? No. Will I probably sell it in the future? Most definitely. I think that ultimately really depends on what happens in the version 1.2 update. If they add Intellivision games to the UI or better support, great. If they don't, I can't guarantee that I'm going to stay a fan of this device. I would be lucky if I make it past 1 year with this device. Anyways, what are your thoughts? Tell me in the comments below. I want to hear your input, any changes, any ways that I can make this better. Let's talk about it. I want to get a message chain going to send this to My Arcade in the hopes of maybe them doing some of these modifications in the future. Anyways, I've been Kaz Denizan, and I will catch you in the next one.